Good morning, true crime friends. How y'all doing? Listen, Daisy Link, trial day 6. We have a verdict. We're going to get into it. But first, you know what you need to do. Please like this video, subscribe to the channel, share it out, and make sure you hype this video. Now, let's be clear. I have no idea what hyping means. I don't know what it does, but there's a little hype button. If you would click it, I would much appreciate it because me and you, we're going to get to 30,000 subscribers together. On trial day 6 for Daisy, we had closing statements from all parties involved. But first, they came in. Now, here's the interesting thing to me. I told you that the show in this case happens OPJ, outside the presence of the jury. That is when both lawyers, the state, the prosecutor, and the defense talk to the judge, and sometimes they fight. Child, they do everything but have a fist fight up in that courtroom. That's one of my favorite parts. But anyway, and let me be abundantly clear. I understand that a lot of people have not liked this judge. A lot of people have not liked her calls, and they feel like she's biased. Okay, but ultimately, she's still the judge. We will see what the appeals court has to say about her decisions. But after they sort of got everything settled, also please note that now that the fighting of evidence or whatever is done, the state and the prosecutor seem to be cordial to each other and having a little chitty chat. Okay, honestly, even though they do everything but pluck each other's eyes out, during the course of this trial, I hope that everybody is friends. So the state gets up and they, well, first, the judge reads the law. It's okay, here's the law that you need to consider. Here's the things that you have to think about. Okay. Here's the things that you have to think about in considering this case, right? And so she read the jury what the law was, and I was like, okay. Now, let me be abundantly clear. As I was listening to her talk, I was like, I don't know how this is going to go for Daisy. It really, really depends on, what you hear and how you measure the things that you've heard. I absolutely have a point of view on this case. Other people absolutely have a very different point of view on this case. There's room for that. We don't know what this jury is thinking. I'm a big mouth lady from the internet who lives up north. I don't know the sentiment of the local community there. And honestly, we will see what the sentiment is. Well, child, we got a verdict, so we found out what the sentiment was, but we're going to get to it. So the state gets up and they tell their version of the story, right? And I was like, state, that's not how I see it, but okay, say what you're going to say. According to the state, Pedro lived at the same house as Daisy, and that the pistol whippation was not that bad. He lightly bludgeoned her. How does that work? That's not a thing. According to the state, the family lied and is unreliable. Daisy lied and is unreliable. Daisy threw a chair at a police officer. Where's the body cam footage of that? Because don't y'all record everything? Everything? So let me get this straight. She threw a chair, reportedly, allegedly, in a room at the police station that's filled with cameras, but somehow y'all don't have that. Oh, did she throw a chair at her house? Don't they have body cams there too? No footage. Interesting. And you know how on the Real Housewives of New Jersey, they say Teresa Giudice flipped a table? Now listen, I saw the episode in season 1 where Teresa Giudice got real mad and she reportedly flipped a table. She bumped a table. It jumped up a little bit and now it's referred to as a table flip. Between me and you, it was just a table bump. Everybody calm down. But we're not here to talk about the Real Housewives of New Jersey, although I could. Anyway, and then the cops are like, one of the neighbors had footage, but it got deleted. And to that, we say, oops. And I was like, state, I don't like y'all on this one. And so I was like, okay. Phil, what you got to say? Please know, Daisy's defense attorney is not named Phil. But to me, he looks like Phil from Modern Family. Also, my brain is filled with useless facts and memories of housewives franchises across the country. So I cannot remember the name this man's mama gave him. So I'm going to call him Phil. Anyway. So according to Phil, the blood trail began at the house. And I was like, right, because Pedro was running towards the door to lock Daisy out. And that's when she gave him a little lead poisoning, but in the bottom of his foot, it was an accident. Oops. And so the fact that the blood trail began at the house backs up her story. He said he was going to lock her out. He had locked her out in the past. And she was like, look, you're not even supposed to be over here. What am I doing having you at my house? I must be out of my mind. Look, you're not going to lock me out. You're not supposed to be around them kids. You all coked out. Who knows what you're going to do? So let me help you stop. Pew, which is what she did. It was only one bullet. I mean, clearly that was enough to unfortunately unalive him. And to that we say, oops, just like the state said with that deleted videotape. Okay. So also, he's locked her out before. So she knew what time it was on that front. It is easy to second guess Daisy Link. Easy. Look. The chaos Muppet that I was in my 20s, honey, we can't even talk about it because a lot of it is not fit for TV. It is not fit for YouTube or probably public consumption because, y'all, I was a whole mess. And I'm second guessing myself. I'm second guessing fully half the decisions that I made as a young person. Now, did I pew somebody? No, but I did fall madly in love with a gay man, and I was convinced that my love would make him straight. It turns out that's not how gay works. I lived and I learned. See, also, I grew up and nobody lost their life, although I might have lost my sanity for a little brief period of time when that man finally left me for another man. Oh, I was sad, but we're not here to talk about me. Anyway. The state has said that Pedro lived at the house. No witnesses said that Pedro lived at the house. Where's the proof that Pedro lived at the house? His driver's license said he lived at his mama's house. His second driver's license said he lived at his mama's house. Did he stay at Daisy's house sometimes? Yes. See, also, she had bad judgment. But you don't send people to prison for bad judgment. I mean, unless they use that bad judgment to shoot somebody and they die. But like, for the most part, look, it's easy to second guess her because her decision making was not great. Now, the state had said, well, Pedro lived there because some of his stuff was at her house. So Phil, the defense attorney, said, I've been divorced for 10 years. Some of my stuff is still at my old house, but do I have keys? Do I have rights to be there? And I was like, right. Also, Phil, you've been divorced for 10 years and you still got stuff at your ex-wife's house? I gotta ask why. I have questions about that relationship. Not that it's any of my business. And word on this true crime streets is that you have a current girlfriend who's watching this video. Good morning, Phil's girlfriend. Phil can come on this channel anytime he wants. And I promise to remember his name should he choose to appear on this channel. Anyway, Phil went on to explain to us that Daisy was defending herself. She was defending her kids from a violent maniac. Now listen. I believe this is true. That's what rings true to me. That's what rings true from the evidence that I've seen in this case. But I understand that a whole bunch of people on the internet see things differently. The internet can be wrong. I know, it's shocking. If you see it inside of YouTube, obviously it has to be true, right? Right? I know a whole lot of people who do scientific research by watching YouTube videos. And so the internet couldn't be wrong, right? Anyway, so of course the state gets up to have their rebuttal case, right? And the state is like, we have this nice cutout of a man, and they have like a silhouette. Where did they get this from? I know y'all have an arts and crafts budget down there at the prosecutor's office, but I was like, what? You know how like sometimes they take like a cardboard cutout of somebody at a special event and you can stand in front of them and you're like, hey, I'm having my picture taken with insert your favorite celebrity, whatever, right? They had a cardboard cutout of a man that was just all black. It was the silhouette of a man with his foot up, and you could see the trajectory. And I think they glued some toothpicks together. Y'all don't have them directional rods down at the police station? Now look, the video feed was not great, but to me, it looked like they just got some Elmer's glue and some office tape and taped a bunch of toothpicks together to show the trajectory of this bullet. Pedro was running towards the house, which means necessarily that he was running away from Daisy, but he was running towards the house to lock her out. His foot was up. The bullet went through the bottom of his foot and then clean through to his thigh. Okay, oops. She said oops. This is my question. Would she be free if she had shot him in the face? That's all I'm wondering. Now, look, I've seen a lot of people, like, I've seen other YouTubers cover this case, and they say, like, she shot him in the back. And I'm like, okay, everybody calm down. She did not shoot him in the back. She shot him in the bottom of the foot as he ran towards her house to lock her out. To me, he didn't have a right to be there. To me, that was self-defense. But again, I have a point of view on this case. Please hold. I have talked my throat dry. So, sadly, she didn't shoot him in the face. I guess sadly, I don't know. I don't know. So then the jury goes out to deliberate, and I was like, I'm nervous. And then 2 hours later, they come back. Daisy got convicted. Now look, people have been in my comments and my emails like, how are you condoning this? Listen, calm down. The verdict has come in. I am not on the jury. I know it's shocking as a big mouth lady on the internet who is on a channel called Gossip, Rumor, and Innuendo. That's what people are here for. The gossip of the situation, the rumors, and the innuendo. I am not Reuters. I know it's shocking for me to discover too. But if you come in here for news and you feel like I'm going to put you in your place, I'm going to tell you, child, save it. I ain't got that kind of free time. So anyway, Daisy was convicted of the top charge of second-degree murder. So people who feel like she's guilty, congratulations, she's going to jail. What you watching me for? I am still Team Daisy. So and I was like, well, wait, can she get time served for that? Because I feel like that he had it come in defense. Obviously not law, but like, anyway. In Florida, second-degree murder has an automatic mandatory sentence of a 10-year minimum. Additionally, if it's a gun charge, there's an automatic 25-year minimum. And I was like, Daisy girl, you're likely to, listen, her exposure is life. I don't think she's going to get life on a domestic violence charge. Also, if you want me to be honest, I think the judge is sympathetic to her plight. And so she faces 25 years to life. I think she'll probably get the 25. Obviously, she's going to appeal because everybody automatically appeals. And I'm like, okay. We're going to look on the bright side of this situation because so many of the judges' of her rulings were controversial. Across the internet, which frankly knows nothing, but whatever. Maybe she gets a new trial. I don't know. But the good news is if she's not sentenced to life, which I doubt on a DV charge, she will be home in time to play with her grandbabies. Now, listen, is that sad? Yes, it's sad. But here's the thing. I believe in Daisy Link. I do. She has time to grow. She has time to change. She has time to not date drug addicts. This is a woman with grit, wit, skill, and determination. Let her mess be a message. If you are in a relationship where the man just be smacking you up every time he gets good and ready, think to yourself, I can shoot him in the bottom of the foot. I can shoot him in the face, or I could leave. And then roll your mind back and think about Miss Daisy Link. You could leave. Is it hard? Yes. Are you going to need a therapist and some protection from yourself for a minute? Yes. DV relationships don't happen in a vacuum. And so you got to get your act right fully installed. You got to talk to some people, have a little talk with Jesus, whatever. Do what you got to do. We have assorted saints for you to choose from. For this case, we needed St. Florida Evans. I was like, damn, when I saw this verdict, but I was like, you know what? Florida is going to work it out in the end. Please know, these prayer candles are not sacrilegious. Jesus is busy. He got stuff to do. It's like famines and wars and people are sick. So we call on the lesser deities when we need them. And for this case, we needed Florida Evans. Florida girl, come into Daisy's heart and help her get her act right fully installed. Just like once upon a time, for 4 years, I dated a very, very gay man and was convinced that me and him were going to live happily ever after in Terre Haute, Indiana. As you see, I currently live in suburban New Jersey with a heterosexual husband and 4 beautiful sons. Oh, one of whom turns 18 today. Happy birthday, baby gossip. He's not going to see this because he's sort of mortified that I have a YouTube channel, but that's another story for another day. So look, Once upon a time, there was a little gossip named Kathy, and she was wrecking havoc. Havoc, I tell you, out here in these streets doing the absolute most. Trust me when I tell you, people who knew me in my 20s never thought I would live to see 30. I promise you they did not, because I was out here showing my whole astropithecus, just doing too much. Today, I am a young and delightful 55 years old with 4 adult children now and 4 grandchildren. I'm grandma chic. You know what I'm saying? Daisy Link, if she chooses, can get her act right fully installed while she's over there at the prison, and one day she will be free to tickle them grandbabies and tell them about the time she popped a cap in that man's ass. Now, maybe she will also tell them about that vent baby, but that's another story for another day. At the end of the day, people who believe Daisy is guilty, she got convicted. Congratulations. As for me, I'm still Team Daisy. Okay, y'all, take it easy, and I will see you next crime. Bye.